The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Z-Talk Radio or its sponsor.
You're listening to Z-Talk Radio, the number one choice for music, sports, news, and talk radio. So keep that dial locked to ztalkradio.com.
We'll knock off now and take the next 2 days off. How's that?
Do that again. You are so stupid.
That's right.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
That's right.
There is nothing wrong with your radio.
That's right.
This is crazy. What's going on here? I don't know. It's so loud.
$100 smoking in my little soul. I know I could have said it, but it's burning in hole. Right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's time to get right. I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's time to get right. I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and it's a good time to roll. All we want to do is pop your pop. Little sugar baby down the road. She's sitting on a radio and rocking on gold. But it's up a storm later on tonight. We're doing all the wrong things right. That's right. It's fine to get right. I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's fine to get right. I'm out of control. We're no working blues and it's a good time to roll.
I'll be back. Oh, that's wonderful.
You're naked. Is that okay? Stop that. Keep your gun. It's wet, but it stretches. Dude! Hi, Pussy. Sit down.
My head in a vice. Tuesday I'll be wondering if I'll ever survive. Wednesday and a Thursday I'll be slowly tuning in. Friday I'll be ready to let my motor up. I'm trying to get right. I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's time to get right. Out of control. Forget the working motion. Let the good times roll. Time to get right. Work into it. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's time to get right. That is unbelievable, man. Forget the working motion. Let the good times roll.
Doing my best to turn you around before you said that.
The answer is
Pussy. Sit down.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, I didn't see it coming, but it came in a can. Now my sweet son sprayed into a man. Mine too, and hey, we know just who to blame. When our sons have fun with women and misbehave. Old Spice, sprayed a man on my son.
Now he's kissing all the women and his chores aren't done.
He was just my little sweetie, tiny fingers, hands and feeties. Now he's touching, kissing, feeling all the women because Old Spice sprayed a man on my son. Now he smells like a man, and they treat him like one.
This is author Edwin F. Becker, telling you for your own good to read Famished. You can run, but you know that they can catch you. You can hide. You just can't hide forever. They have a speed and strength driven by total insanity, and they have a relentless hunger for human flesh. They are famished. Some think this is a novel. except for the guy in Miami whose face was eaten, or the college kid in Maryland who became lunch for his own roommate. Do you think zombies are frightening? You need to read Famished. You need to prepare. You need to be afraid. They're already here. Or this is reality. Get Famished at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and other select bookstores. Read Famished. Just not before bedtime. www.edwinbecker.com.
As I was going over the far-famed Kerry Mountains, I met with Captain Farrow and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol, then I produced my rapier, saying, "Stand and deliver, for you are a bold deceiver, Masha." There's whiskey in the jar.
And welcome back to another great Friday night on the Z Talk Radio Network. You are listening to the Supernatural Realm. I'm your host, Timothy Roxbury. Tonight we have a very, very special guest from across the sea over in the UK. He's one of the members of Ghost Searchers Ireland, Gary Waters. Gary, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the intro. It was absolutely fantastic. I was dancing along to it there.
Yeah, I was going to play the whole song, but I think maybe we'll wait till the break. I didn't want to take any more, of our time playing music. So I want to get. Cool. I'd like to get started and talk about who Gary Waters is, how you began this journey into paranormal, and how Ghost Searchers Ireland was founded.
Okay. Well, myself, I've been into studying paranormal research now for about 6 years. Like myself, like a lot of other people, had a personal experience growing up. I was brought up in a small seaside town on the northeast coast of Ireland. My mum and dad was going through a hard time. They were going through a divorce, so we needed a house pretty quickly. So I was 9 years of age at the time, and my mum had came across an old house. It was built back in the 1890s. It was a 3-story house. It was quite tall. Had 6 bedrooms. It was quite a large. Well, it was quite a large mansion. But it was a beautiful house. But it was like something out of your classical horror movie, where you had a long driveway up through the trees to this house. But it was a beautiful house on the outside, I have to say. Anyway, after my mum decided that she bought the house, myself, my brother, and my sister, we were all excited because this house, you could have played hide and seek for 4 hours on it. You couldn't find anyone. It was that big. But after a while, after moving in, a couple of strange things started to happen. And at 9 years of age, you don't really understand until later on in life what possibilities was going on. And I was basically looking for answers. So basically what happened was that it all started one night when my mum was out. And I was the only person in the house at the time. And the babysitter had just left. And it was about a half an hour wait for my mum to come home. She was running late. She was a businesswoman, and she rang the house. I heard the phone ringing downstairs, and I heard there was no reply on the phone, so I knew then I was the only person in the house. So I was sitting back on the bed, and quite a large bedroom. I was in the middle floor of the house, and there was an upper level to me where my brother had slept. And I remember playing this wee little computer game, and in the dark, and I remember the light shining out onto the landing, and there was a gap at the bottom of the door where the light was on. And I remember lying there, and something had blocked out the light, walked past the door. Now, we just moved in this house. There was no carpeting in the house. It was just bare wooden floors. And I heard like heavy footsteps walking up and down the stairs. And I heard like a man and woman talking, which was quite strange because I knew my mum hadn't been home yet. I knew my brother had been up in bed sleeping. And I remembered seeing the light being blocked out by whatever it was on the other side of the bedroom door. So this went on for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it stopped as quick as it came. It stopped immediately. And thinking I would have heard the footsteps either going up the stairs or down the stairs, there was nothing. So I jumped up out of bed, and I ran over and opened the bedroom door. My curiosity got the better of me, so looked out, and there was nobody there. So that unnerved me a wee bit. So I ran upstairs, woke my brother up. He was in bed sleeping, and I said to my brother, he was a couple of years older than me, and he says, "Don't be silly, you're seeing things." So then my mum came in, and I'd said to my mum that I definitely seen people, heard a man and woman talking outside my bedroom door. I couldn't explain it at the time. I was a bit frightened, I have to say, because I couldn't understand what I'd seen and what I'd heard. So that it all stemmed from there, and a few other things that happened. I remember we used to have an old, what I call it, Chris doll. It was one of those dolls that you set up on your knee, and the mouth opened and closed when you put your hand up the back of the doll. And this doll absolutely petrified me. It had the marble eyes, and it had the real life like her, and he petrified me. So I remember one night we were sitting downstairs, and this doll was sitting on the chair, and it seemed to be staring at me. It was about 10 years of age then. So I thought, right, your history, I'm going to put the doll up in the cupboard. So I locked the doll up in the cupboard, stood up onto the chair and put him up high above my head, and I closed the door. So me and my sister, we were walking out of the room and closed the door, and I heard this on my ladder. And that's strange. What's going on there? So I went in, opened the door to him, and switched the light on. And there was a doll sitting on the chair. Fell out of the cupboard, obviously. But the way which we found was strange was 99 times out of 100, if the doll had fell out of the cupboard, I probably would have landed on the floor, but it was sitting upright. And it was staring at me. So this probably came the natural fear of me with dolls. Over the years, it's just absolutely petrified me. So it all stemmed from there. And then later on in life, curiosity got the better of me. And then myself and my wife and a lovely lady called Anne McKinstry. She came from a former paranormal team. I actually met her in that team. And we decided to form Ghost Searches Ireland, and that was back in February 2011.
Well, that's neat. That the doll that you had in your closet, do you feel, or maybe do you believe that there was some sort of spirit energy that might have been attached to that doll or that item that was in the closet?
Yeah, the chances of it coming out of the cupboard, yes, okay. Maybe I didn't close the cupboard properly, but I remember closing it hard. But the actual doll, the way it was sitting upright, when you opened the door, it was staring directly at me. And it always unearthed me, this doll, so I eventually ended up putting it up into the old attic. But I also remember growing up in that house. I remember talking to a neighbour of mine. His house was about 30 yards away. He was about 25, 26 years of age. He had just moved into the house next door. And a very friendly guy. He was from Scotland, and he had 2 young kids, and he was just I think he just got married about 6 months. And I remember I was talking to him one day, and I remember him telling me that he believed that his house was haunted. And at 10, 11 years of age, then I didn't know exactly what a haunting was. And then I remember I hadn't seen him again for about maybe 6 or 7 months after that. So I seen his wife out one day, and I says, "Hello, how you doing?" And I was talking away to her, and I says, "Where's John?" And she says, "Well, John passed away there." I says, "Oh, really? That's terrible." I says, "What happened?" She said that he fell down the stairs and broke his neck and died instantly at the bottom of the stairs. So that again, that unnerved me a wee bit. But as I say, these are all things that that I've experienced at a young childhood, and I've always been looking for answers. What I experienced back in that house, was there a natural element behind it, or was there a real haunting going on?
So this interest or this experience with the paranormal started when you were very, very young.
Very young, yeah, very, very young. We lived in that house for about 12, 13 years. And I always remember telling my mum and my brother that I believed then, at 15 years of age, I believed in the house to be haunted. I used to watch the horror films and all. And then I remember another night, actually, Tim. By this stage, I'd moved up into the large room at the front of the house, at the very top of the house. Now, this house overlooked the sea, and you could see on a clear day, you could see the coastline of Scotland. That's how close this from where we lived. You could see on a clear day, you could see the Scotland coastline. And I remember one morning lying there it was getting bright, it was summertime, and I was starting to wake up out of my sleep. And my brother, he slept at the far side of the room beside the door. And I remember waking up, and I remember like a cold breeze in my ear. And I was lying there awake, and my eyes were adjusting to the light. And I remember listening to, it sounded like a whispering in my ear it sounded like an old lady whispering in my ear. So I was lying facing the wall, and once I heard this, it immediately it puts a hack up in the back of your neck where you get the goosebumps. And I turned around thinking it was my brother carrying on, and I adjusted my eyes, and he was laying in bed. So I thought, that's a bit strange. So then I says, right, okay, I'll just ignore that. So again, I lay down, and about 5 minutes later, I experienced the same thing again, where I heard a lot louder, like a woman whispering, an old lady whispering in my ear. I turned around again, and there was nobody there. So I remember running downstairs and sleeping downstairs. My brother telling me, why on earth did you leave me up in that haunted room? So, I always told my mum. She never believed me until one night when I had actually moved out of the house. She had rang me, and she told me that, Gary, could you come up immediately into the house? I says, what's wrong, Mum? She says to me, I think there's somebody's broken into the house. Jeez. So I says, right, okay, what makes you think that? She says, well, I was lying in bed, and she felt her body being lifted up out of the bed. So I thought, that's a bit strange. So I came up, run up. I was up within the house within about 5 minutes, jumped into the car, came up into the house, and searched the house. The house was completely locked up. It took me about 2 minutes to try to get in the house for Mum to come down to open the front door. And my mum was absolutely shocked. And I think then that's when the reality she actually believed that all those years that I was telling her that the house was haunted. I think then that's when she realised what I was telling her. She actually believed it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a neat story.
Yeah. So I say back in 2011, myself, my wife Karen Waters, and Anne McKinstry, we formed Ghost Searchers Ireland. We wanted to use the spiritual side of techniques into the investigations because we thought it's very, very important to try to communicate with the spirit world, but also using the technical side to try to measure for possible paranormal phenomena. And we've used this theory ever since for the last 3 years with some pretty amazing results.
Mm-hmm. You guys have some pretty interesting equipment, don't you?
We do. We do. Have you got all night? It would take me about 2 hours to tell you what we have. I'll just run through some of the things that we have. We'll have the basics that most paranormal teams have for measuring possible paranormal phenomena. We've got your night vision IR cameras. We've got your CCTV high definition cameras. We also use a Van de Graaff machine. It's a bit like the Telzer or the Teisler machine, where it sends out electricity, the atmosphere. We've got the PX device. I think it originated from the States. You probably know a wee bit more about that.
Right.
It looks very similar to, I believe it's the Ovilus.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the famous Frank's box. It's there's a newer device out now. I think it's called the SP7 Ghost Box.
Right.
We've got the motion sensors, vibration sensors. We've got one of the world's biggest light illuminators, spectrum light. It comes completely water resistant, and you can use it outside. It's very, very good. It's mobile, and it could light up a space of in around about 30 to 40 square yards.
Wow.
It's fantastic. It goes further than your normal IR light on your camcorder, so it gives us a bigger spectrum of scope. We've got we're actually getting a customized new electronic pump. It's being specially custom built for us at the moment. A good friend of ours of the team, he's building this one, and we're going to hopefully be using it next Tuesday evening. With voice recorders, there's just a full armory of equipment that we use. We're very, very blessed to have all this equipment to use.
We're gonna play one of your EVPs that you got on the Frank's box here in just about 7 minutes. We're gonna go on break here in about 7 minutes, and then when we get back, I'm gonna play that EVP. It's very distinct what that person's saying. I was blown away by it myself. But
cool.
It was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
You said you have a camera that's similar to what firefighters use, you said?
Ghost Adventures use it. It's new state of technology. It works very similar to the thermal imaging camera.
Right, that's what it was.
Only with this new, we like to call it an imprint camera.
Mm-hmm.
It can measure up to about 30 feet away. With your thermal imaging camera, it's not very distinct. It comes in all different colors. But with this imprint camera, it's like if you leave a fingerprint on a glass and you remove your finger, it leaves that imprint. Well, this works very, very similar. And we actually used it last Friday evening. We were over on our first field trip to a castle very well known all over the world. It's supposed to be one of the most haunted castles in Europe. It's called Chillingham Castle. And we left this camera running up on, I believe it was the King Edward room, and about 55 minutes into the footage, we actually had picked up something, but I don't want to say at the moment what it was, but we're at the process of putting this fly-on-the-wall investigation together for the viewers out there to watch. But we've picked up something on the audio side of it, and it's very, very interesting.
Does that device pick up heat signatures as well?
It does. It picks up hot and cold signatures, but it also does it on like a 3D image.
Mm-hmm.
And also it records on high definition, something that you don't get on your thermal imaging camera.
Oh, that's really cool. You said you had that specially designed for your team, or specially made?
Yeah, well, not designed. No, we've done a couple of modifications on it, and we're still at early stages of doing a few other modifications on it to suit our own needs for what we look for on into the paranormal research of investigations. And we want to get away from this particular camera. It's very high def. It records very, very clear. But we're testing different types of microphones with it at the moment. And it's at a very early stages of experimentation, but it is very, very interesting and very, very good to use for what we're looking for.
That's really awesome. I hope to see some of your footage from that, maybe on YouTube or on your website. We're gonna go on a break here, Gary. It's been a very quick first 30 minutes of the show. it's been really interesting. We're going to go on break. You're listening to my guest, Gary Waters from Ghost Searchers Ireland over in the UK. We'll be right back right after this.
Can I say your name, Becca? Now, if it says back, that'll be frustrating.
I'll be more impressed if he said Rebecca.
Yeah.
Can you say my name?
Rebecca! Did you hear that?
Oh my God!
Did you hear that?
That was impressive.
Said Rebecca.
Yeah, yeah. We just received this from the States. We were doing an investigation of it was down at Kennedy Castle. It was about 5 years ago. We had just finished an investigation. We were working with another friend of ours at the time, and anyway, we'd finished what we were doing. And before we wrapped up, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. We all decided to sit around this large wooden table that sat in the back room where the bar had been. And I remember the fire being lit, and we decided to use a Frank's box and see if anything came through, thinking, 3 o'clock in the morning, nothing's going to come through. So we were all pretty tired. We'd sat down and using a Frank's box, what we like to do as an experimentation, we like to ask each individual question, and what we try to get is an intelligent response. For people that don't know what the Frank's box is, it's basically a white noise frequency scanner that doesn't stay on a constant frequency. It scans up and down multiple frequencies. And the theory is, it's believed that spirits can manipulate these frequencies and they can come through and communicate on. 95% of the time, most of it is pareidolia, where it's a sound that comes through and it turns out that it's actually something else that it's saying. But what we were looking for is, we always look for an intelligent response to the question. So we started off, there was 8 investigators sitting around this large table, and the first 6 investigators had asked questions and nothing came through, nothing at all. And then we came to a lady called Rebecca, and Rebecca had asked a question and the voice had came through, and she looked a wee bit stunned, and she said at the time, I think I recognise that accent. I says, who do you think it is? She says, well, it was somebody that she knew that had passed over to the other side. And I says, well, do you want to ask a question? Do you want to, I'd be impressed if we could say Becky or Becca. And one of the other investigators had asked, well, I'd be more impressed if it said her full name, Rebecca. And just like the recording that you played, she had asked the question, can you say my full name? And 5 seconds later, it came through, Rebecca. And we were well, you can hear the excitement. Not only were we absolutely gobsmacked and stunned with what we had heard, but there was a professional soundsman and a professional cameraman there as well. And they were absolutely gobsmacked.
Wow. We're gonna play that EVP again. I forgot to hit the record button after this song, so I'm not sure if our listeners heard that or not. But we're gonna go ahead and play that again for everybody.
Like I say, can I say your name? Now if it says Becca, that'll be faster.
I'll be more faster. He said Rebecca.
Yeah.
Can you say my name?
It almost sounds like there's a female saying Rebecca right before she says, can you say my name? Did you get that as well?
Yeah. But yeah, there definitely was. Unfortunately, at the time, it wasn't that clear enough for you to use it as substantial evidence. It didn't come through loud enough for us to be able to use. We did hear it coming through, but when we heard the man's voice that said Rebecca, that just absolutely, we were absolutely stunned with what came through.
Mm-hmm. Where was this at again? Where'd you get the CVP?
I think, that was down in Kennedy Castle, down in around the middle of Ireland. It's connected with the Haunted Triangle, I believe. Kennedy Castle is very well known. It's been on TV. I think Most Haunted, a UK program, had done a program there, along with the other 2 castles. I think it is Leap Castle. You probably heard of Leap Castle.
Yes.
I think Tops from America had investigated there. And I think the other one is Charleville Castle, which we've been down there quite a few times, and it's an absolutely fantastic castle, I have to say. And we were down there last year, and it was, some of the evidence we caught down there was quite phenomenal.
Wow, that's awesome. You guys have a lot of haunted locations over there in the UK. I don't know if it's because it's an older country, because of the castles. Maybe it's a combination of everything. I'm not exactly sure, but you guys have a lot of history over there.
We have, I mean, there's buildings here that, I mean, there's a castle that we had actually done a walk around there last week in England, and I think it dated back to 1080, which it's very, very old. And even before the castle was built, I think there was a Roman settlement that was built on it as well. And there's buildings over here that dates back even older than that. But we're very, very blessed to have this in Ireland, and basically Ireland's not a big country, and I mean you could travel. It would take you 6 hours to travel to the bottom of Ireland, so it's not really that big. But we're very, very lucky to have these locations on our back doorstep, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really awesome. You guys have been pretty busy in the last since you guys formed Ghost Searchers Ireland. It seems like you go all over the place. You guys were you guys here recently?
No, we've been asked out a few times to America. It's something that we're contemplating on maybe in the next year or two. We've been invited out by a few people, but we're looking into that at the minute. But we're starting to go over to England and also looking into Scotland. So we'll be coming out of Ireland because we hear so many stories over there of famous castles. And one that we always wanted to investigate was Chillingham Castle, which now that we've done. But yes, we like to travel.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it. It'd be awesome to have a group such as yours and be with the group and be able to travel like that. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I have history with my father's side of the family. We have Irish and Scottish in our family, so that was really cool. And it was even more awesome that I started talking to you guys here just a few years ago, and to be able to have friends over in the UK is pretty awesome, I think.
Cool. Well, anytime you come over here, we're more than happy to take you out in some locations.
Yeah, I would love to come over there sometime. That's one of the places I have on my list to visit. So.
Cool.
What year did you guys form Ghost Searchers Ireland?
Ghost Searchers Ireland, we formed that back, I think it was February 2011, so we've been just going now for over 3 years.
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
really cool.
We're still a fairly young team. There's teams here that have been going. I mean, the first paranormal team that I was in has been going now for over 20 years. They were like a spiritual team, and I have to say I did learn a lot from using spiritual techniques with them. And then the second paranormal team I joined up in the north of Ireland as well, another fantastic team, and they were like a spiritual but also a technical team, and we learned a lot from them as well. So it's very, very important for us. I mean, there are a lot of fantastic teams in Ireland, and I have to say we're way down the pecking order. There's teams a lot better than us, but fantastic teams, and we love to work basically wherever you want.
Yeah, I believe that's when I first started talking to you guys. You were with another team, and then you broke off on your own. So that was
yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose that happens all the time with everyone, I suppose. But we learn a lot from other teams, and I think that's very, very important to share research. And we also we do a lot of public events, and there's one location that we've got into, and it's a great pleasure for us to get in there. It's a place called Crumlin Road Jail. It sits in the heart of Belfast. This place dates back to the 1850s. There was, I think, there was 14 executions there, and it's starting to get nicknamed Europe's Alcatraz. We had a lot of, I think it was about 50 Americans that came over last summer. And they were absolutely gobsmacked. They had been to Alcatraz, and when they came to Crumlin Road Jail, they were absolutely blew away. Lovely group of people, I have to say, and we're just blessed to get in there.
Wow, that's really cool. I see that Anne's in the chat room from your team.
Oh, cool. That's all right. She gets about.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady. My mom talks to her occasionally on Facebook, and she really likes her.
Yeah. I'm sure the rest of the team there. Could I just give a wee shout out quickly to the rest of the team? I know these guys are sitting up late tonight. I'm sure they're listening to it. My wife Karen, she's sitting here with me now. Karen Waters. You've got Anne McKinstry. You've got Amy O'Reilly. You've got Fra McDonald, who's coming on the second part of the show. He's a real character, I have to say. And you also have Sabrina Devlin, one of our new researchers. And we've got somebody new coming on board, hopefully next Wednesday, which we're going to announce. This person doesn't actually know we've asked this person yet, so we're pretty excited. And he's a fantastic researcher, I have to say, and it's a great honor to have this person on board.
That's really cool. Yeah, you guys have been pretty active over the last few years, for sure. We're going to go ahead and go on another break here, Gary. And if anybody has any questions, any comments, anybody wants to call in, you can call in at area code 724-602-2826. We'll be right back right after this.
Oh, I didn't see it coming, but it came in a can. Now my sweet son's sprayed into a man.
Mine too, and hey, we know just who to blame.
When our sons have fun with women and misbehave.
Old Spice sprayed a man on my son.
Now he's kissing all the women and his chores aren't done.
He was just my little sweetie, tiny fingers, hands and feeties. Now he's touching, kissing, feeling all the women because
Old Spice sprayed a man on my son. Now he smells like a man, and they treat him like one.
Can I help you?
Excuse me, hi. I wanted to find out about the Unlimited for Life guarantee.
Sure. Sprint is guaranteeing unlimited talk, text, and data for life.
Cool. And what if, say, technically you were not alive? Like, maybe you were undead?
Like a zombie.
Whoa, let's not go putting labels on people. I'm a zombie.
Unlimited from Sprint. It's guaranteed for life. Now for only $80 a month.
What was that? Well, I don't know, man.
Timmy.
Y'all know I talk to animals, right? Hold. What did you say? Hey, pay attention here. What did you just say? You said Clayton Home will max my tax refund? Hey, you heard it here first. That's what the fox said. Me and the fox having a conversation. I've had it with you. Hey, get the fox out of here, okay?
This is a song about corn nuts, an intensely crunchy snack. It's not about anything else.
When you're all alone and there's no one home and you've got nothing to do, don't despair, just pull up a chair and here is what you do. Bust a nut, grab a bag of corn nuts and bust a nut. They're lightly toasted and hard as hell. Enjoy yourself, we won't tell. Keep it in your drawers till you're ready for more, or leave it on your shelf.
Corn Nuts, an intensely crunchy corn snack, comes in 7 nut-busting flavors.
The bar is actually attached to a castle, and there's a connection there because the hotel that we're staying in across the road, there's a spiritual connection where the hotel owner had a medium in one night and had said that apparently the spirit from the hotel goes over to across the road in visitation to the castle and doesn't like it, and he stumps his feet across the floor. So when we were talking to the owners of the castle, one of the reports, believe it or not, was that when the owner was downstairs, he actually heard footprints across the top of the floor. So there's a connection there between the two buildings. So we're going to be hopefully investigating these two buildings on Tuesday night. So we're pretty excited about that.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat. So you guys are going to be busy here in the next few weeks or few months.
We are. I think at the minute we're up to about probably August time. I know other teams in Ireland are probably booked up to the end of the year, which is absolutely fantastic. But we're about 4 or 5 months work ahead of us at the minute. So, but we love doing private cases. It's very, very good. If we can help one family in a year, it makes what we do very, very worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. What's been your most significant piece of evidence, whether it be a EVP or something on your camera, or have there been a lot of that?
Yeah, we've been very, very lucky. We've been the golden rule. We've been there at the right time. There was a couple that stand out for me anyway. I'm sure the rest of the guys had their favourites. There was one case that we done. It was about 3 years ago. It was a private house investigation, and one of the reports from the client had told us that the hall or the living room light would switch on by itself, and there was a lot of the young child had been seeing a figure of a man, and the child had said it was a bad man around the house. So because there was children involved, we once we heard of what was going on, within 24 hours, we went over, we'd set up the equipment, and we were down in the living room, or the bottom floor of the house, and we were the only people in the house, and we were in the front living room. We'd switched all the lights off in the house, and when we were doing our vigil, we'd noticed that the hall light had been switched on by itself. So this got our attention, and we went out into the hallway, and we checked the front door. The front door was locked, thinking that one of the owners had came into the house and went straight upstairs into one of the bedrooms. So myself and 2 other investigators, I was the last one to follow the other 2 investigators up the stairs. So I had grabbed our night vision camera, and up at the top of the stairs, just before just after the bedroom or the hall light had been switched off, something comes into the shot of the camcorder to the left side of the door, and we actually have that footage on our YouTube channel, and it looks like a figure from the waist up walk into the shot for about half a second. And as quick as it comes in the shot, it moves away. So that for us was probably one of our best catches on video evidence. On the EVP side of things, probably another one that would stand out for me was a castle down in Sligo called Markree Castle. We were doing a vigil down in the cellars. There was 5 or 6 investigators down there with several pieces of equipment running. And I think it was my wife had asked one of the investigators a question, and we had picked up, but we didn't hear it at the time. It was a young child's voice that said, "Oh, please." And when we played it back on the several pieces of equipment, we'd captured her on all 7 pieces of equipment, which is very, very rare in its own.
Wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. So we've caught some pretty amazing stuff, I have to say.
Okay, wow. I think Fra's on here now. I'm gonna go ahead and try to add him to the call and see what happens. see. Do. Guys, we're just getting Fra back on here. And, we'll go ahead and take a little break, Gary, and see if we can get Fra back on here.
Okay.
This is author Edwin F. Becker, telling you for your own good to read Famished. You can run, but you know that they can catch you. You can hide. You just can't hide forever. They have a speed and strength driven by total insanity, and they have a relentless hunger for human flesh. They are famished. Some think this is a novel, except for the guy in Miami whose face was eaten, or the college kid in Maryland who became lunch for his own roommate. Do you think zombies are frightening? You need to read Famished. You need to prepare. You need to be afraid. They're already here. Or this is reality. Get Famished at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and other select bookstores. Read Famished. Just not before bedtime. www.edwinbecker.com.
Fra, can you go ahead and call me on Skype? For some reason, I'm not seeing his Skype lit up, but he is answering me back, so I'm not exactly sure.
He's probably in the chat room.
Okay. Fra, if you can call me on my Skype ID, and then I'll just add you to the call, that'd be great.
I think he's calling you now.
Okay, cool. There he is. Fra, how you doing, my friend?
Tim, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
We still got Gary on the line.
Hey, Fra.
Hey, how's it going, Gary?
Long time no hear.
Yeah. About 12 hours.
Yeah, more like 12 minutes.
Fra, I wanted to get some little background about yourself and how you got involved with the paranormal and how you got involved with my good friend Gary here.
That's actually more of a coincidence, a pleasant coincidence than anything. I got into the paranormal basically by luck. As such, I used to watch, the TV shows, your Ghost Hunters and your Most Haunted and things like that. Way back when I was younger, and kind of always had an interest in it. And I had got an opportunity for a radio show in America, for to go on and do an interview. But me myself, I wasn't part of a team at the time, and it actually said that I would be able to get the presenter an Irish team, and I had actually approached Gary to go on to it, and as a sort of a thanks as such, the guys invited me out to one of the investigations, which was in Queen Street back in November, and kind of just from there we kind of just took off, I suppose. They never got rid of me.
That means they like you then, I guess, huh?
It's either that or they were just really desperate.
Well, probably both.
Do you have any gifts or any psychic abilities?
Me, no, I don't, unfortunately. I stick to using equipment to try and feel my way around things, rather than my mind, unfortunately.
There's a lot to learn in this field, isn't there? You being a newbie coming on.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. There's a lot to learn, but what I'm finding, I mean, I'm in the team from January, and what I'm finding is it's such a fast pace, sort of, for want of better words, industry. You pick things up very quickly. You kind of have to. And if you've got, obviously good teachers like Gary and the rest of the guys at GSI, you do pick things up a lot quickly. A lot quicker, which is good. So I think I'm definitely learning a lot. But I think in this field, you're kind of always learning. I think you can never have enough knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you there. There's always something to learn. There's always it seems to be always new equipment coming out, and always new things to learn in this field. It seems to be a wide range of different things and different ideas that individuals keep coming up with, and it's become very, very interesting, to say the least.
It has, yeah, definitely. It's always expanding, which is good. And I mean, even if you look at sort of older sort of equipment and stuff, I mean, people are always looking at it and going, well, what else can we do with this? What can we add on? What can we improve? So you've also got sort of the older sort of stuff still coming back around because people are always improving as well, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Does GHI or GSI, do you guys consider yourselves a spiritual team or more of a scientific or combination of both?
I would say both, Tim. I think it's important, as I was saying earlier. There's some of the team members that we would class as sensitives. They can pick up things where we're walking their property and they would pick up certain names. Myself, I wouldn't be as sensitive. I would be a bit like Father. We would be more of the researchers that record evidence. Whether the other guys they have their own skills, they bring their own skills into the team. And my wife also, I would class her as a sensitive as well.
Mm-hmm. That always helps to have sensitive people on a team. Myself, I'm considered an empath. I can pick up on energies. I can pick up on emotions, and there's other people that I investigate with. They can pick up on different things going on in the home. They can pick up on the layout, or they're mediums. They can feel something maybe that happened back in history or back in time. Maybe pick up on a woman in the 1800s that might possibly be there. So yeah. I think it's always a good it's nice to have a diverse team with folks with various skills that they can bring to the organization. It's always helpful.
Definitely.
It's definitely something that I think our team personally kind of has. We kind of all bring something sort of different to the table, which is good. And there's loads of different experiences, obviously from different backgrounds, which is good as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys use any sort of protection? You say prayers, or do you wear stones or religious medals to help protect you so you don't get anything attached to you?
Mm-hmm, we do. Karen or Anne would normally do the protection. Before every investigation, we would always do spiritual protection, because sometimes you can bring certain energies home with you, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Even though you've done protection, the way that I personally look at it is if there's a spirit there, and it does want to come home, you could do all the spiritual protection in the world, isn't going to stop it. It's still going to come home with you. Mm-hmm. But there was one particular night, there was a famous house down in Newry. It's called the Poltergeist, or the Ghost House down there. And we had done our very, very first investigation, and we'd done our protection. at the start of the investigation, and we also closed the protection down before we left the building. And I remember getting home, it was about a 2-hour drive, and by the time we had got home through the door up into the bedroom, it was about 2:30 in the morning. The adrenaline, after you do an investigation, you probably know yourself, Tim, and it takes the adrenaline maybe an hour for you to calm down. It's just an adrenaline rush that I find anyway. I'm lying there for about 15-20 minutes myself with Karen, and we were still wide awake, and we heard a large bang on the bedroom door, thinking that one of my daughters had jumped up out of bed. So I jumped out of bed quickly, opened the door, looked into the darkness, and there was nothing there.
Wow.
So that for me, and I'm sure everybody has their own experiences if they've brought anything back, but that was my personal experience. So for me anyway, I believe if there's spirits there, and if they do exist, they will, if you could do all the protection you want, they'll definitely, if they want to go home with you, they'll go home with you.
Right, if they're bound and determined they're going to go, they're going to go.
Definitely.
It's really cool, especially for people who are sensitive. They're able to feel the energies and the spirits that may be present. I know myself. We did a former prison in the county next to us here a few years back. And I was down in a basement with my cousin. There's probably maybe 6 or 8 different cells for prisoners in there. And we were sitting in the one cell. And I told my cousin, I said, Aaron, start taking pictures in front of me. I sense something. I feel something standing there. And he took about 3 pictures. And sure enough, there was a little girl standing right in front of me.
That's cool.
It was really cool, and I didn't know exactly whether the excitement might have got the best of me or whatever. So I posted it on Facebook and had some other team members from other parts of the U.S. Look at that picture, and they said that's definitely a little girl standing there. So that was very exciting. That was actually the first apparition that I ever caught on film. So it was pretty exciting for both me and the rest of the team.
Fantastic. I mean, to get evidence like that for a researcher, it's very, very important. I mean, you could sit for hours upon hours going over evidence and get nothing. And it just takes you that half a second to capture something really, really special and makes it all worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
Definitely.
We were at another investigation just in like 20 minutes from here, up in a little borough, and we were sitting in a living room, and we were asking questions on on the voice recorders, and we had the K2 meter sitting right in front of us, and I asked the client if he would go get or if she would go get the fishing pole that was very dear to the client or to the spirit who passed on. I said, can you go get that fishing pole? And she went and grabbed it. And I said, hey, we're all going fishing, let's go. I grabbed the fishing pole and started walking out the door, and sure enough, the flashlight started going off. The K2 meter lit up like crazy. the place just lit up. It was like wow.
Yeah, that seems like an intelligent type of haunt. So it does when that happens. There's somebody in the chat room there. Tim has asked, has any of the team members ever got scratched? I personally have. It was down in a castle down the middle of Ireland. It's a very, very popular castle. It's a lot of teams go down there for a social weekend break. And we had the first paranormal team that I was in. We went down for the weekend, and we were doing an investigation. And I remember sitting up in a room, I think it was called the cot room, and I was sitting in the dark, and I felt like when you get a scratch, or it's classed as a spirit scratch or ghost scratch, you get like a burning sensation, and that's the best way I can describe it. And after we'd done our vigil, we'd moved downstairs and we'd finished. And I remember my back being on fire. And I said to my wife, I says, Karen, my back is absolutely burning. So she lifted my t-shirt up, and there were three thin scratches down the middle of my back, where you could see like a rash, like a red outline of a red rash. And it took me probably 2 days for it to actually calm down. That's how bad that scratch was.
Did you feel the burn right away, or did it take a few minutes?
Yeah, I did. It was something that I personally never experienced before, sitting in the dark, and you're sitting there, not against anything very, very hot. It's a cold castle, and it must have been about probably 4 or 5 degrees in temperature, and all of a sudden feeling this burning sensation in your back. It's quite surreal. It's very, very uncomfortable. And then to come downstairs and to see that for the first time, it actually quite frightened me. So it's something that it's hard to explain what's actually causes this phenomena. But my wife has experienced it also. And Fra being into the field just a matter of months. Hopefully it's something that he'll never experience. It's not nice. I don't know about yourself, Tim. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Me, no. Thankfully, I haven't as of yet.
No. What about you, Tim? Have you experienced that?
Getting scratched or burned? No, I never really felt that yet, and I don't know what I'd do if I did get scratched. I don't know if I would leave the premises or what, but I know, some people associate with getting scratched from something demonic or something negative, maybe touched you or whatever. I don't know what your thoughts or feelings are on that, Gary, but myself,
I believe, personally myself, I believe that I don't personally believe in demons. I believe if you're good in life and you pass over, you'll bring that personality over with you. And if you're bad in life, you're going to bring, if you're a bad personality, you'll bring that over with you. And you'll always get, again, if spirits exist, there'll be good spirits, there'll be bad spirits. The reason why I don't personally believe in demons is, for me, it's seen as believing or experiencing something that's demonic. Then I would be the first one to put my hand up and say, yes, I believe in demons, but that's my personal issue. But if they do exist, then it's something that I wouldn't like to come across. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Fred? What do you think about
I would have the same opinion as Gary, to be quite honest with him. For me, again, it's the exact same. For me to really believe something, I do need to experience it or see it myself. Again, I mean, we've all heard loads of different reports and stuff through the years and stuff. The internet's covered with sightings and different things of demons, but it's not something that I would believe in simply because I haven't experienced. But as Gary said, it's not something that I would be particularly interested in experiencing either. Mm-hmm. I'm quite happy to stay with spirits.
the friendly ghosts, the Caspers, right?
Yeah, definitely the ones that at least you can kind of say bye to whenever you leave the area, not the ones that kind of go, I'm going to waken you in your sleep.
Exactly. I believe that these demonic hauntings are real, but I also believe that they're very rare. I'm going to have a guest on in May. His name is Bob Kramer. He bought a house here locally in Pittsburgh back, I believe it was the 1970s or 80s. And shortly after he moved in, things started to happen, and some family members had to be treated psychologically, and there's just been a lot of negative things happen in that home, and they've had to get priests involved to do exorcisms and everything, and I'm looking forward to talking with him in May. He wrote a book out called Demon on Brownsville Road, and his name is Bob Kramer, and he's going to be on my show here in May. So.
Awesome. He'll have a lot of experience by the sounds of it. I don't know about whether down in the direction of Ireland where Gary's from there, but I know in Belfast here there's always been reports around where I live. There would be a lot of religious people, and there has been reports through the years of exorcisms being done in homes and things like that. And there was at one stage a priest that was actually in our vicinity who actually was qualified for exorcisms. Again, it's not something that I've experienced. It's not something that I've witnessed. They are only things that I've kind of heard of. But I'm not saying that they don't exist. For me, I haven't seen them, and don't particularly intend to. But again, there's enough sort of not stories as much, but reports there to kind of back up that there is definitely something there the normal that is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that I know myself and you do as well, and Gary. That's not something that us as paranormal researchers or investigators want to go looking for. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. I mean, if you look at it in the sense of we can't control the areas we're in, the areas that we go into. We're going into their atmosphere. We're going into their areas. It's kind of like you going into a friend's house. You kind of got to respect that area and kind of leave it as is. Whenever you come to the other direction, you're physically going in aggressively to try and provoke and trying to actually prove these things. And again, it's not an atmosphere you can control. So on that level, when you speak of demons, it's not something that you want to be tempting.
Right. Have you guys ever got a VP saying "get out" or "leave me alone"?
I think Gary's got a good one in the Crumlin Road jail, in the tunnel, wasn't it, Gary?
Yes. It's Crumlin Road jail, the tunnel down there. It was reported to be haunted by two spirits. One was of a prostitute, and the other one was picked up by a couple of mediums, and apparently he called him Sir. And he particularly doesn't like women, or he would this spiritual energy would have a tendency to push a lot of women. So we had done a lockdown there last year. I think it was back in May last year. There was myself and Anne McKinstry was down in the tunnel, and we were doing a recording session, and we were calling out and on our audio recording as well as our camcorder footage. We were calling out, and we didn't hear it at the time, but we heard when we played back the recording, it was a deep man's voice that either said "crisis" or "Christ," and that was quite unnerving, because if we had heard that at the time, that would have actually quite frightened us. And there was another one we'd done. It's supposed to be haunted by a little boy called Patrick McGee. This boy hung himself. He was very, very young. I think he was 12 years of age. And he was brought into jail for stealing, I believe it was clothes off a clothesline.
Wow.
So they brought him into the prison, and he was in there less than 24 hours. I think it was back in 1858, if I remember. And he was only in there, I think it was only half a day. He went in, he didn't speak to anybody. He was very, very... very, very nervous, and the judge at the time was very, very hard on him, and the young boy tried to get off with it. He said he would apologise. He would never do anything like that again. But the judge was hard on him. He must have had a bad day, so he sentenced him to 3 months in prison.
Wow.
So a young boy of that age, obviously, going into prison. And remember, these prisons back in those days had no glass in the windows. There were metal bars, and there was probably between 10 to 20 people sleeping in these cells, and the cells were probably 12 foot long by about 7-8 foot across. They were very, very small, and you can understand at that age you don't want to be going inside for 3 months. So the little boy decided to hang himself.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So we had done a lockdown. We were using a recording device. It's called the RT-EVP.
Mm-hmm.
It works on white noise theory. And the question was asked, Patrick, are you down here? and you hear a little boy's voice that comes through, and he says, "Who's that?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jails are real good actually. Place for those things. I mean, me and Gary both, Tim, got. We had a group of the public. It was actually my first time in the jail. And we had a group of the public around the table with the spirit box.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary was actually giving each member of the public, a chance for to ask the question each. And I think it was the maybe the third person in. The girl had turned around and went, "Can you say my name?" And it came through Lisa. And she kind of looked shocked, and Guy had said to her, "Well, what is your name?" And she said, "Yeah, Lisa is my name." So we kind of looked at each other and we're like, yeah, that's that was an interesting one.
Yeah. And the experience that there were, I think it was about 20 people standing around the table, and for them to witness that as well for us was fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, we have a couple questions in chat. One was, does your team ever help? Do you guys help spirits to cross over?
We would bring people in. That we wouldn't actually do that ourselves because we're not qualified to do it.
Right.
That's something that we would stay away from. When we're called in to do house investigations, for instance, when we're asked, the people believe that they're having hauntings, we always go in open-minded. We'll listen to what the client has to say, but we always come in with the attitude that we're looking for answers. We're not looking for ghosts. Right. But if there's something there to suggest that there is maybe some type of spiritual activity going on, then we would have somebody within outside the team to bring in and to do a house clearing, providing the client is happy with that, for that to be done.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, because myself, my team works, the same way. If there's a cleansing or a spirit to be crossed over, we would call another team who specializes in those sort of things.
Yeah. I mean, if you could bring a team in that doesn't have any experience at all, and they could do a house clearing, and it could actually make things worse than what it actually is. So, as I say, it's something that we have never attempted to do, and it's something that we would never do. So we have experts on the outside that would come in and help us to do that.
Okay. Another question is, what's the place you visited that was the most active? I'm sure over there's quite a few places that are very active.
Well, go ahead, Fra. You speak first now.
Well, for me, I mean, personally, because I'm sort of one of the newest ones in the team. For me, the jail never lets us down. It's just a real active place. You've got tons of history there, and obviously a lot of lives lost and stuff. So for me, the jail would be kind of the top of my list. It's just a brilliant place to be in. And as I say, it never lets us down from audio to visual, and then again, even physical. I mean, I think it was the Saturday night, the last event we had done. Gary's team had actually got a bar through at them, walking out of D-Wing, and on the same night, my team had actually got stones through at us, walking out of B-Wing. So there's a vast variety of activity, and as I say, it just, for me, the criminal jail never lets us down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, it's a very good question, actually. I would have to say probably Duckett's Grove. We done an investigation down there, and it was actually a very popular paranormal TV show out in the States. I think it was Destination Truth.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Actually came over on St. Patrick's Day, I believe, a few years ago, and they done an investigation there. So we actually, about a year after, we went down after watching the TV show, and we thought, right, let's give this a go. Listening to a wee bit of research, we actually filmed the investigation. And I remember myself and another friend of mine, we were in the toilets and we heard this almighty bang. And just before that happened, my wife and another lady were at the other side of the castle, and they thought they'd seen like a shadow of an apparition. come very, very tall. It must have been about 7 foot tall, if I remember rightly, with the reports that both said. This unnerved them, so they were running. They run across the castle grounds through this heavy metal door, and when they went through the metal door had slammed, closed, and had locked itself. Now we actually filmed this from 3 different camera angles, and it's actually on YouTube, and it's also Anne Law Internet TV network has actually shown it on their network, and we can't explain how this door closed. We tried to open it, but we noticed it was locked, so we had to go around about the other side of the wall of the castle, and we had to unlock it from the other side. There was no draft that night. We opened the door. We tried to recreate the door slamming. It couldn't slam. So the next day, this got our fascination. How could this heavy metal door close on its own? So we had asked one of the groundsmen. We were telling him, he was asking us about how our investigation went. And we told him that about the metal door. And he says, apparently there's a horseman that haunts the castle, and that was a door that he would come through, and if he didn't like you there, he'd always slam the door.
Wow.
Yeah, so that for me probably was one of the most eeriest investigations that I've ever done, and that's one probably that would stand out for me the most.
Mm-hmm. I know for me, Fort Mifflin over near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was one of the most active investigations for me. Because going in there, it was an old Revolutionary War fort, and I think was active during First and Second World Wars as well. And I know Sheila and I, we both felt an enormous amount of energy with soldiers in pain, with soldiers dying. It was just a dreadful sort of place, and it was very overwhelming. It being there, and after we left there, we had gone to I think 3 other locations that night, and it was I know myself, I think Sheila too. We were drained for days after that because it was just so much energy. We were just overwhelmed so much, and then the other place would be Waverly Hills Sanatorium. It's a tuberculosis facility that was opened during the 60s and 70s. There were a lot of patients that died there, and there was just a lot of things going on there. We would see shadow people. We would hear noises, banging, screams, you name it. We experienced it there.
Wow.
Yeah, on the note of Waverly Hills, I had just seen there, Tim, the other day that they are actually going ahead and opening it as a hotel.
Yeah.
That's definitely a place I'll be interested in holidaying. The asylums in America, they seem very appealing.
It does.
It would definitely be on my bucket list anyway.
I got mixed feelings about that, being open as a hotel, but the owners have to make money somehow, and they have to make it usable for the community, or else they'll have to tear it down. So I think that's probably an avenue why they're looking at that idea and why they're going through with it. But
it'd be a real shame to pull that building down. It's actually one of my wife's favourite locations for her to investigate. And if it was a hotel, I think we'll be booking our flight tickets over there pretty soon.
I think we'll have to make it a GSI thing.
I think so. Yeah, a road trip.
Yeah, it would be really awesome if you guys would make a trip over here to the States, and
we would love to get over. Definitely would love to get over. We have a lot of good friends over there, and some of your locations over there are absolutely fantastic. You've got your Alcatraz prison. Again, one of our favourites that we would love to investigate because of so much history attached to it. And it's just looks a fascinating place.
Yeah, there's a lot of good known places over here for sure. There's I can't remember, Western Penitentiary over near Philadelphia. That's
Yeah.
another pretty active place. And then the Stanley Hotel out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
It's a popular hot spot as well for activity. So
Yeah, that's right.
we're going to go ahead and maybe take a break here. If anybody has any questions, you can continue to ask in chat, or you can call at 724-602-2826. We got about 30 minutes left, so we'll be right back right after this commercial break.
Are you sitting out there lonely and feeling left out? Do you want to be included in the world of the paranormal, but really don't know how? We have the paranormal solution for you. Call us at 1-800-RENT-A-GHOST. We can deliver everything from a timid spirit that walks the halls or one that simply opens a cabinet door. Or you can get a feisty poltergeist that can trash your house and really liven things up. We can get you as many shadow people as you need to have a party. Do you have too many unwanted friends or family just barging in? Our screaming and wailing banshee will guarantee that after hearing some deafening anguish, they will never return. Impress your friends or take revenge with a specter of death hovering over your dinner table or theirs. Or if you're lonely, you might like a simple attachment that follows you everywhere. EVPs? Choose from our line of celebrity voices. One investigator would not want to hear Jim Morrison or Whitney Houston, or maybe Michael Jackson or Kurt Cobain. Order now and get 3 free orbs. We are 1-800-RENT-A-GHOST. Not responsible for damage caused by poltergeist activity, divorce, loss of job, sleep deprivation, bedwetting, uncontrolled vomiting, suicide, or the possibility of being hospitalized for insanity. And most important, there will be no returns.
Okay. I guess we're back, guys. The song just kind of froze on us.
A bit of Irish dancing there was great.
The song just kind of froze on us there. So.
Yeah.
I was about to go to the bar there just with that music playing.
It must have been the effect the wonderful Irish music has on my equipment.
Definitely, it all sounds better when you're drunk.
Get us in the mood for St. Patrick's Day coming up soon as well. Looking forward to it.
That's awesome. When is St. Patrick's Day anyway?
I think it's only 14th of March.
17th?
Sorry, 17th of March.
Well, it's coming up quick then. In what, next week or so? Another 10 days.
Yeah. It's just an excuse for the Irish to go out and get drunk.
I'm not going to argue with that.
No, definitely not.
You guys drink any green beer over there?
Yes.
I stick to the black stuff personally.
Oh, do you like the looks of that better, huh? Anne says green gin.
Green gin.
Anne loves the gin.
Anne loves the gin no matter what colour it is.
She does wild things when she's got gin, or let me tell you.
Table surfing being one of them.
Pole dancing.
We have a question in chat for you, Gary. It says, does GSI plan a battlefield investigation somewhere in Ireland?
It's a good question, actually. It's something that we haven't really thought about, but it would be something that we'd certainly be interested in the near future, definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She said that Bree asked if it would be interesting to meet Cromwell or O'Neill.
Yes, that's right, definitely. And then you've got the famous the Battle of the Boyne down here as well, and it's another place that we've actually talked about. That probably be on our hit list maybe in the next year or two. Definitely get down there sometime as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. We got a pretty lit up chat room here going on tonight. That's pretty awesome. Anne said that that is one good friend from ours from Germany, Brianna, that's asked that question.
Yeah. She's a lovely lady. She actually, we done a charity event last year, and she came all the way over from Germany just to come to the charity event. Very lovely lady, I have to say.
Wow, that's awesome to be able to make the trip to see you guys. That'd be really cool.
It is, definitely.
Are you guys familiar with Will and the Hall Paranormal? Because they're also in the chat room.
Oh yes, Glenn. It will be Glenn. Yes, we've just met Glenn recently, and it was actually Glenn that built us. He customized the IR light, or the spectrum light he's designed for us. Very cool guy, and he's a good friend of the team's now as well.
That's really cool. Does anybody else have any questions or comments in the chat room, or anybody that's listening? You can call in. Obviously, it's 724-602-2826. If you have any questions for my guests from Ghost Hunters, Ghost Searchers Ireland, sorry.
Okay, you were near enough saying Ghost Hunters International there.
Yeah. Okay, the Irish version of Ghost Hunters. Okay.
Yeah, could help them.
I guess I got my little trip in April on my mind. I'm going out to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for a paranormal conference, and there's going to be a lot of well-known investigators out there. Jason Haas being one of them, but as well as many others, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So.
Yeah. I think the paracons that you guys have they're amazing. You know, I wouldn't mind getting across the one at some stage, just kind of mingle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Gettysburg is an annual event. This year it's a little later. It's normally in mid-April, or mid-March, but this year it's going to be in April. So it's something they hold over there every year. So it'd be awesome to have you guys come over to one of these events because they're pretty kick-ass, I think, from what I've been told anyway.
Come over and show you how to drink the Guinness.
There you go.
We're good teachers.
Yeah, I can see that. I can feel that from you guys.
There's a question that just came in the chat room. Has any spirit ever flirted with me? Yes, actually, there has. We've done an investigation down outside of Larne on the northeast coast of Ireland. There's an old house down there. It dates back, I think, to the 1800s. It used to be a hospital during the war. And it's now, unfortunately, it's closed down now. A very, very old building, and we had the pleasure to get in just after it closed down by the owner to investigate it. And we were doing a ghost box session one night, or Frank's box session, and it came through very, very clearly. I had asked a question, and it came through, I like a woman's voice, I like Gary, a few times. So that alone was quite surreal, I have to say, because my wife, the ghost was giving me more attention than what my wife was.
It's just for the reference, Tim. It's the Arctic blonde hair that does it.
Yeah, the what is it? The silver fox.
Silver fox.
Silver fox, yeah.
Who sings Seven Drunken Nights anyway? Celtic Thunder? Is that one of theirs?
Well, sorry.
I'm not too sure actually.
Okay, because we had a request for Seven Drunken Nights in the chat room. Somebody wanted me to play it.
Right. Oh, the Dubliners. It's probably the Dubliners.
Oh, Dubliners. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get that request in here before the end of the show. So.
Oh, cool. They're a fantastic band.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Is there anything else that I didn't touch on that you guys want to mention before the end of the show here?
What's the technical side? I mean, over in Ireland here we would get a lot of technical equipment imported from the States. We'll have researchers all over the world sending us, keeping us up to date on what's coming out. And just a question for you, Tim: is there anything new coming out in America at the minute that would be popular with paranormal teams over there in the States?
As far as events,
equipment.
Anything currently? I know David Roundtree's team. They're coming up with. They've been coming out with a lot of scientific equipment. I know he got the wormhole. The thing that I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it the orb sucker. That's what it is, and it sucks spirit energy or orbs, as you call it. And they came out with a recording device for EVPs as well. So he's on Facebook. His team's on Facebook, and if there's you guys might be interested in maybe getting in touch with David Roundtree or getting on Facebook with him. He comes out with a lot of different scientific equipment.
That's cool. And what would be your theory into orbs?
Personally, I believe from a spiritual standpoint that it's spirit energy. It's just energy waiting to manifest itself, into an apparition. Because there have been a few investigations where I've been on, where there's a concentrated area of orb activity, and then shortly after that, I would see a shadow or some form come across the wall in that location, as well as that girl that I captured. There was a big concentration of circular energy there. Right when she appeared, so that's kind of my theory on it. I'm not exactly sure whether it's scientific or not, but that's just been my experience with the orbs.
Right. Okay. There's a wee tip that I've learned over the last 5-6 years for anybody that's listening out there that has a Frank's box or Ghost box or Spirit box, SP7 box, or any type of white noise, that there's a simple solution how to filter it, to cut out the interference, contamination, whatever you want to call it. It's very, very simple to do. All you need, believe it or not, is a piece of tin foil, a small box or a cardboard box, and wrap it in tin foil. Set your Ghost box inside the tin foil with your lead running out into the speaker, and make sure it's completely sealed. And it works. It cuts out about 96% of radio contamination. We have experimented with it with some pretty good results.
That's really cool. Is there any other equipment that you guys have used? I know you mentioned about the camera earlier in the broadcast. Is there anything else that you guys have been experimenting with or using?
Yeah. I was saying earlier, with a good friend of ours of the team, he's building us a couple of new pieces of equipment. He's very technically minded, and we actually had a meeting with him today. And some of the theories that this guy was coming up with, along with Fra was there too at the meeting, and I'm sure he'll back me up here, is some of the stuff that he was talking about today just absolutely blew us away.
Yeah.
We were absolutely gobsmacked.
It was mind blowing.
It was. So we're pretty excited about some of the pieces of equipment that he's building for the team at the minute. But we use there's another specialized microphone that we use. It's a condenser microphone, and a lot of teams that use this microphone, it's very, very simple mistake. Sometimes we find it through mistake when we first using it. It's an amplified microphone. You need a cable to run from your computer onto this microphone. And we found out early days of experiment with it that we found that the actual cable itself was acting like an antenna, and was picking up a lot of contamination, i.e. taxis, ship to shore interference, anything at all it was picking up. So a lot of teams were actually thinking they were picking up amazing EVPs when in fact it was just something natural. So then we came up with the idea to use a device called RF chokes, where you wrap the actual microphone lead into several loops. And what this done, just like the Frank's box, if you put it in the tin box, it cuts out the interference. And that's another very, very good piece of equipment to use as a condenser microphone wired up to a professional audio program. And you can pick up some amazing stuff for that as well.
Mm-hmm. What's some of the audio software that you use to?
There's quite a lot. The one that we like to use, and we're giving out some of our secrets here, but at the end of the day, it's all for sharing, and we're very, very happy to share. And it's a very, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that actually use it. It's Cool Edit Pro. Very, very easy to use. Probably take you 2 or 3 hours to use it. But it's a very, very good program, and we've been using it now for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm. That's the software that I use as well. I use Cool Edit Pro and Adobe Sound Booth. They're both very very good programs for
Yeah, definitely.
What another one that I would say as well there, Tim, would be for anybody kind of using cameras that are linked to laptops or PCs or anything, would be IPI recorder. Mm-hmm. Which is a very good one. It records the visual and audio, but it records the visual on 2 different spectrums.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really cool.
Which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Very it's very early stage software that you can just download straight off the internet. But Gary knows himself, so he'll even back me on that. I'm experimenting with it at the moment, and it's pretty cool software.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's really cool. Does it go in the IR spectrum or infrared spectrum?
It doesn't. No, it goes into a kind kind of like a thermal sort of spectrum, which is pretty good. It's highly sensitive to movement. The software itself using cameras, which is pretty good. But the audio on it as well, it's very sensitive. I know that we ran the audio side of it in Chillingham, and when I reviewed the audio side of it, we had it in the room, and you could actually pick myself and Gary and another fella that was with us up on the landing, which was a decent ways away. So it's good pickup, very very good pickup.
Yeah, it's very ultra sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I didn't touch on that you guys want to speak of? Because we got about 7 minutes left. So.
Timothy, what would be your best evidence to date then? What would you say stands out?
We did a theater over at a university, and we were setting up camera equipment and extending our tripods and everything. And I didn't know it at the time, but we were in the theater area, and I got this voice, real clear voice saying, "Leave me alone." And if I'd have heard it, it might have scared the shit out of me. But Fortunately, I didn't hear it until we brought out all the equipment home, and I played it back the next morning. But it clearly said, "Leave me alone." And,
yeah.
The theory.
That's classic.
Yeah. The belief is that I guess there was a construction worker that was working in that room, because it used to be a swimming pool, and they transferred it over to a sort of play acting theater room. And then I guess the construction worker was in there making some changes, and he fell off the ladder and died, from what I've been told. He had a massive heart attack or whatever it was, but they believe that his spirit is still there, as well as a little girl. And,
there was, talking about spirits, captures, there was another one that stood out for us. We had investigated a cinema in Belfast. It's one of the only working pre-war cinemas operating today in the north of Ireland. And we were called in last year to do just a 4-hour investigation. All our investigations would be a minimum of 4 hours, because ourselves personally, we find if you're not going to get anything in the first 4 hours of an investigation, you're not going to get anything. So we were called in, we listened to the reports, and I think actually, Tim, I showed you the footage. I put it onto your Facebook page yesterday, and you had a look at it. Mm-hmm. Myself and another gentleman was up in I think it was called the projector room.
Right.
And we were the only 2 people in that room. And there was a few mediums in that said that they picked up on a spirit that used to work there, called Tommy, and had been seen by not only the staff of the cinema, but also some of the public had seen him as well. So we went up halfway through the investigation. It was about 2.5 hours into the investigation. We decided to go up where he had been seen in the projector room. Mm-hmm. So we were only in there about maybe 10 minutes. We were conducting a Frank's box session, and we had a shadow detection device, or it was a electronic or electric laser grid, slightly more powerful than your normal your pen laser grid. And the only 2 people in that room was myself and the other man that was standing in front of me. And I think there was a question that was asked, and I came around with a camera, and something walks in between myself and the man in front of us, and you can see head and shoulders, and it's walking in a humanoid movement type of thing. Wow. But I can tell you, if I had seen that at the time, I would have been in that place much longer.
That's awesome.
It was quite frightening, but at the same time, very, very exciting to capture whatever that was that we'd captured.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to end the show here, guys. It's about 4 minutes till. If anybody wants to learn more about Ghost Searchers Ireland, you can go to their website at ghostsearchersireland.com. and learn more about the team. Guys, unfortunately, we're going to have to end the show here. Do you have any final shout-outs or anything you want to say?
Well, yeah, myself quickly. We just like to thank everybody for listening in this evening from wherever you are, and to all our good friends here in Ireland, and to everybody that's set up over here listening, to myself and Fra, and also to yourself, Tim. It's been a great pleasure to have us on the show. And anybody wants to check us out, we've got our Facebook pages. We've got Ghost Searchers Ireland Facebook page, and our other Facebook page is Ghost Searchers Haunted Ireland. And as Tim said, we've got www.ghostsearchersireland.com. That's our website.
All right.
Oh, and a special thank you to LR TV, Internet TV. These guys have been fantastic to us for over the last 3 years, and they show all our fly-on-the-wall investigations.
And I'd like to thank the rest of your team, Gary. I'd like to thank Ann for listening in, being active in the chat. It's been a great time. It's been a very fast 2 hours, and I enjoyed talking to you guys. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. You have been listening to the Supernatural Realm radio show on the Z-Talk Radio Network. Good night, everybody.
The name of this song is The Seven Drunken Nights. We're only allowed to sing 5 of them, so here goes.
Oh, as I went home on Monday night, as drunk could be, I saw a horse outside the door, where my old horse should be. Well, I called me wife and I said to her, will you kindly tell to me, who owns that horse outside the door, where my old horse should be? Ah, you're drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see, that's a lovely sow that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a day I've travelled 100 miles or more, but a saddle on a sow sure I never saw before. And as I went home on Tuesday night, as drunk could be, I saw a coat behind the door, where my old coat should be. Well, I called me wife and I said to her, will you kindly tell to me, who owns that coat behind the door, where my old coat should be? Ah, you're drunk, you silly old fool, still you cannot see, that's a woolen blanket that me mother sent to me. Well, it's many a day I've travelled 100 miles or more, but buttons in a blanket sure I never saw before. And as I went home on Wednesday night, as drunk could be,